Shalom, it is I, Yahabash, checking into YouTube again. I want to bring something up that severely affects me. The recent elections between McCain and Obama in the United States, 2008, for the presidency, regardless of the efficacy of that position, have been causing a very odd sensationalism. Or rather have been surrounded by. I don't know what the causal relationship is, honestly. But, look, I walk down the street and people are cheering in mad screams and ululations about how things are going to change. Things will be different. A new order is in progress. To me, this is terrifying. I mean, are you terrified by statements like that? By people walking through the street, making ululations and screaming and acting like this is the beginning of the Messianic era. I mean, to me, not merely is this a religious insult, but it is an insult to your own reason. Honestly. You cannot depend on ephemeral politics, changes of regime, to ensure for you liberty, to ensure for you your rights. People act as if inalienable rights go with them from regime to regime. So whether you're living in a communism, you're living in an oligarchy, whether you're living in an anarchy, still you have inalienable rights, unalienable rights. But is that the case? Honestly, what is a right? What is a right? People say, I have a right to this, I have a right to that. This right allows me to. This right ensnares me in the responsibility to protect myself, my family, my happiness, my possessions, my freedom, my money, my love, my vocation, my anything, my conviction about this universe, my religion, my hopes, my dreams. But how does this thing called a right ensure any of that, ensnare us in the responsibility to any of that? The answer is, the notion of a right alone does not. It does nothing to that effect. It's a dummy relation. In reality, rights do exist, okay, but not in the way that we usually think of them. And I will try to go into that later, even though I'm quite in the dark myself. We all are. So we must work together to arrive at a better understanding of these kinds of mysteries. Alright, so this is what I want to say for this particular video clip, or this particular address. When I think about what has happened in these elections, what ultimately comes to mind, even though this is raucously underplayed in the media, it is not spoken of to enough of a degree, even though it is on the tip of everyone's tongue, and is spoken about by nearly everyone outside of the media. And that is the issue of race in this election. And that has been one of the biggest deals of all. It's not about who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, because there's nary a difference between the two supposed parties in this country. The question is of race. We have so much emphasis laid on this. And the very fact that it's not spoken of that much in the media is what lays so much emphasis on it, because all the people are talking about it. And the media is not talking about it. So it just creates this gaping contrast of what we're being told and what we're saying. There's a major difference there, and we can only feel confused about it. Okay, now I'm not saying that the notion of race has not been mentioned in the media, because it has. But It has not been approached in any sensible way whatsoever. Now, on that note, the same thing goes, though, for the people as they talk about it. The election, regardless of what may be going on in the world, cannot be a question of race. It needs to be a question about moral values, a question about the capacity of this particular candidate to handle the helm to which he is going to be nominated, or rather voted into. And this is not it. I mean, it's like we're on American Idol. And now once again, realize and remember that I'm not talking about whether or not this position of presidency is of any political efficacy. I'm only speaking about this as it reflects on the mentality of the people as a voting republic and a voting public. Who are we to, first of all, on the surface, treat Obama and McCain simply as American men, which is an insult to them, because if on the surface we only acknowledge them as candidates, as men, we think of them as robotic representatives of our deepest wants and desires. So it becomes fetishistic, idolatrous. But then on the deeper level, we're thinking about, at most, what the racial implications are. Oh, we finally have a black president. Oh no, I just said it. Now, this is a problem because not the fact of having a black president, but the fact that everybody is obsessed with it. Okay, the color of one's skin is not going to change his or her policy as much as we might hope it would. All I can say is if there is any political efficacy in the presidency, I would hope that Obama will not rely on the issue of skin color or background to ensure the success of his politics or try to rally the people in this way or that way. It is only going to cause alienation in the big picture, even if it does cause some amount of communitas and collecting together of specific groups. It's problematic. It's going to only cause more riftage. Although I can say certainly I'm happy McCain didn't win the election. This is very problematic, very problematic. We need to gather together as human beings, not as racial minorities and racial majorities. This is who I am and this is who you are not. This is we, you are they. This is we, you are they. Us and them. Us and them. Do we need these kinds of volatile attitudes, these kinds of violent oppositions, no matter how subtle they may seem, to get us on in this world, to function properly as men, as women? I do believe that ethnicity, that race, gender, sex, orientation, all these things are very important to one's identity, and they're very important with respect to the idea of mystical covenants. But as far as goes politics and human regimes, whether the president is black, white, Native American, Jewish, Protestant,